So, what if I told you that the clean, logical world of algebra and the, well, messy, emotional world of literature have something profound in common? It sounds a little out there, right? But stick with me because they might just be two sides of the same coin, two different ways we humans try to solve for the unknown. It really all boils down to this one question. I mean, what could possibly connect solving for x in an equation to a character in a story making a decision that just breaks your heart? The answer is actually pretty amazing, and it tells us something really fundamental about the way our minds are wired. All right, first, let's do a little time traveling. Let's go back to school, to that classic mission, the quest for X. You remember it? And it's so much more than just a math problem, isn't it? It's really our first formal training in hunting for a missing piece of a puzzle, finding a clear answer that's just hiding in plain sight. And the goal here is what's really key. The whole point of finding X is to get it all by itself, to isolate it. You have to strip away all the other numbers and operations around it until that unknown value has nowhere left to hide. It's just standing there, completely on its own. That's how we finally get a clear answer. So how do we actually do that? How do we get X alone? Well, it all comes down to one single, incredibly powerful idea, the golden rule. To isolate X, you just have to do the opposite of whatever is being done to it. It's this beautiful principle of balance. And here's the entire toolkit you need. It's that simple. Every single operation in math has a twin, an inverse that perfectly undoes it. You add something, subtraction erases it. You multiply, division brings it back to where it was. And that's it. These four pairs are the only tools you need to solve for almost any basic unknown. Okay, so let's put those tools to work and see how this all builds into a logical step-by-step process. This isn't about taking a wild guess. It's about methodically applying these simple rules to find one single correct answer. So let's take a look at this example. 20 minus something equals 8. The goal is the same as always. Get X alone. Now, there's a simple rule for this. To figure out the number being subtracted, you just take the number you started with, 20, and subtract the number you ended with, 8. And boom, that reveals that X equals 12. See? A clear problem, a clear rule, and a clear answer. Simple. But what happens when the unknown isn't a number at all? And this is where we make our big pivot. We're leaving the clean, predictable world of numbers behind and stepping right into the messy, complicated world of human emotion. A world where the unknowns are feelings, motivations, and the real meaning behind the choices people make. Let's just put them side by side for a second. In math, our unknown is a missing number we call X. Easy enough. But in a story, the unknown might be a hidden meaning, and it's represented not by a variable, but by a symbol, like the title of Doris Lessing's incredible short story, Flight. You see, in Flight, the title is our new X. It's the unknown we have to solve for. If we want to really understand what's happening in the story, we first have to figure out what flight actually means. It's not just a word. It's a puzzle we need to unpack. And what makes this story so brilliant is that flight has two completely different meanings happening at the same time. On one hand, you have the literal flight of the grandfather's pigeons, these birds he loves and, importantly, controls. But on the other hand, you have the symbolic flight of his granddaughter, who's about to leave the nest herself and get married. One is physical, the other is all emotional. So this symbolic flight, her flight, is really about emancipation. It's about her moving from being a child to being an adult, about her breaking free from the comfort and the control of her grandfather. And just like any big leap into the unknown, that freedom comes with a very real emotional cost. Which brings us to the grandfather's own emotional equation he needs to solve. He is really struggling with this loss of control. So for him, his favorite pigeon becomes a stand-in, a symbol for his granddaughter. And to solve his internal problem, his inability to let go, he has to perform a physical action. He has to release the bird. The story describes his feeling as being clenched in the pain of loss. That's such a powerful image, right? It's not just sadness, it's a physical feeling of holding on way too tight. So by opening his hand and letting that pigeon go free, he's literally performing the inverse operation. He is letting go. So now let's bring it all back together. We've got a math problem and we've got an emotional problem. On the surface, they look like they're from different planets, but the way we find a resolution, well, it's pretty much exactly the same.
Just look at this breakdown. It's wild. In the math problem, the unknown is the value of x. The obstacle is that plus 5. The solution? Do the opposite, subtract 5. And the resolution is clarity, x equals 10. Now look at the story. The unknown is the grandfather's acceptance. The obstacle is his controlling nature, his fear of loss. The solution? Perform an action that is the opposite of control, release the pigeon. And the resolution is acceptance and his granddaughter's freedom. It is the exact same pattern.
So, here's the big takeaway. Whether we're using numbers and logic or symbols and metaphor, we are driven by the exact same fundamental human impulse. We all have this deep, deep need to face an unknown, to figure out how to remove the obstacles, and to find a resolution that finally gives us clarity. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. This isn't just about math problems or short stories. It's about our own lives. So, what are the unknowns you're trying to solve for? What are the obstacles in your way? And what's the opposite operation you might need to perform to find your own resolution? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining me.